welcome to Mums at the Table. You are here with Rachel and Shona. Now today coming up we've got Collett, our psychologist, and we've got Gia and her gorgeous kids in the kitchen. Now I want to start with a question, and this has come from our Mums at the Table Facebook group, and it's a topic that's being discussed there. When you've been at home all day with the kids in the house and your partner comes home and says, "What have you done all day?" How have you been asked that, and how did you respond?
Not when the children were young. He never, the mere male never asked that. I think because I made him stay home with the children when I was part-time working, when the kids were small. So I worked at home a little bit, and so he had to look after them for me. So he never dared ask me, and would you ask me that question? Probably not, no. But he did recently come home, now that the boys have left home. He came home one day and I had had a lazy day and hadn't done anything. And he said, "What have you done all day today?" Well, he just about lost his head. I don't think he'll ever ask me that question again.
Oh, look, he ventured out of the cave for a moment and
pulled his head back in quickly.
It is a contentious topic.
It is.
And I think women, and I can say from my experience that I've probably asked myself that even more than my husband did. And I would say, "What did you get done today?" Because you look back on it. And normally, like if you've come from the workforce, you've got things to show. You can tick things off that you've achieved or that you've been working towards. But sometimes with kids and the house, like you go, "I didn't even get the washing folded," and it'll be sitting there for a week. And so someone comes home and sees that could be the easiest task ever. Why haven't you gotten it done? And you're like, "I don't know. Why didn't I get it done?"
But look, I remember days when my two were so small, like babies. I was lucky if I could get to the shower and actually physically clean myself and brush my teeth and do my hair. There were days I couldn't even get out of pyjamas.
But let's face it, being a parent, being a mum at home with your kids is a full-time job. 24/7 you are on call. So when, your husband goes to work and comes home, he's not on call when he's at home. Just remind him of that.
Or leave him with the children for a couple of hours, and then he probably won't ask that question again.
I was going to say, parenting has to be a shared thing. Today we've got women, men, both in the workforce. When you get home, it shouldn't be falling to one person. I think that sort of needs to be a conversation everyone might need to be having with each other, clarifying those boundaries. Even before you have kids, clarifying some of those boundaries is probably a good place to start.
If you have the opportunity to.
If you have the opportunity to.
Hey, thanks for joining us. You may have heard of the saying, if you have the choice to be right or to be kind, always choose to be kind, which is why Collett is joining me and chatting about how we can raise kind kids.
Yeah, so I know I've spoken about character and happiness on the show before, but really I think in the West we chase happiness in the sense that for us happiness is about accumulation and power and what we can get, and that often can lead to unkind behaviour. Not always, but it can. And I think
we're thinking of our ego.
And what we can get for ourselves rather than looking out. And what's fascinating is there's a study done by Harvard. It's called there's a project called the Make Caring Common project. And they looked at kindness and gratitude in children, and they asked children what their parents value. And the children actually say that their parents value their academic success higher than kindness. Yet the parents will say, "No, we value kindness." And what's interesting is I think sometimes as parents we're not walking the talk. We're telling our children, we want you to be kind, but we're making them pursue academic excellence and all these other things
at all
first.
costs.
Yes.
Do your best.
Yeah.
And that can be twisted with maybe becoming more selfish.
Yeah, and not that those things are bad, but it's all about what can I get. And so I think, as parents, it's about modelling to our children what does kindness look like? What are we showing our children that looks like in our home? Are we reaching out to elderly neighbours? Are we reaching out to other people in our lives? Are we putting aside things that we might want right now for somebody else, to care for somebody else or for somebody else's happiness in that moment?
So it's important to practice what we're preaching to our kids and to tell them to be kind, to encourage that from a young age.
Yes, absolutely. But I don't think it's kindness at all costs. We also need to be careful because I talk about raising children who are both know that they are love worthy, so they are worthy of being treated with respect and kindness themselves, but also children who are love able, so reaching out. If we only teach one or the other, we risk having children who believe that they are always love able but don't see their own worth. We risk them being exploited. And so we need to just be careful that we don't say to children, well, you need to be kind even though you're being in an abusive relationship. And so if a child is...
That's so important because I feel like as a parent, I tell my children, always be kind. We're kind girls.
Yes.
Mum raised you to be kind. But if another child is not so kind to them, do they stick around and just keep being kind to this person? Or you know, because I have said to them, no, these people are not your peeps.
Yes.
You do not roll with these peeps. So how do we teach our kids to stand up for themselves and not be a doormat, but also display kind traits still at the same time?
So I think we can still teach our children to be polite. So some of us as adults might have bosses who aren't kind and we're still polite. But abuse is a different thing. And if a child is being bullied or abused, then we teach them assertiveness, we teach them to move away from those people and we go to places where you're safe. But in general, kindness is the principle that we are instilling in our children. Reach out to the marginalised, look at those who are left out, put aside things for your siblings, of yourself for your siblings on certain days. That's kind.
Thank you so much, Collett. And there you have it. Choose to be kind.
Okay, so we've all heard of burnout, but as a stay-at-home mum, as a parent, do you experience burnout? And by that I mean, I guess, exhaustion from being overloaded with work and whatever, you know, whatever's compiling in on you.
I think every mother suffers burnout at some point, don't they?
They have to. This is a 24/7 job. You don't get to clock off ever.
No.
Ever again.
Well, luckily they leave home. So you do get to clock off eventually.
Look, and hope is a good thing too. But we're talking about burnout.
Yeah.
Did you experience that when your kids were young though?
Look,
because you were working.
Yeah. Well, I worked from home, so I worked around the kids. But
that's hard too, though.
Yeah, it is, and I do think. Look, I was really lucky that Gary took on a lot of the workload with parenting the kids so that I could work part-time. But I don't actually know if I had burnout, but then that could be a problem as well because maybe I did and didn't know.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think we all definitely feel that exhaustion and there's too much going on. And in a sense, I look at what I'm doing and what I've piled on my schedule and what I've contributed to my own burnout. Because right now, at the moment, you know, I'm working, you know, several jobs. I've still got the kids. It's the end of year activities. We've got so much happening. Sickness is upon the family. So there is a huge amount happening and I'm feeling that exhaustion, that pressure, that tired. Will someone just come cook for me?
Yeah, stop the world and let me off for 5 minutes.
Yeah, but I think as a parent, even when you've got one child, I remember feeling, how do people have more than one? Because this is so much work. It's so intense.
So what are you doing for yourself or intending to do to alleviate the burnout that you're suffering from?
What I do now compared to what I did when my kids were very, very young and I was just sort of a bit naive about I can just keep going, you know, doing this. Now
you can't.
Yeah, no, but I set those boundaries now. Like at the moment I'm saying there's this one day I'm taking it to myself. I rest, I sleep, I recover, and then I get going again. Because the work still has to be done.
Yes.
But it's about putting those boundaries in place and recognising when you're starting to burn out, and that can be challenging. Did anything sort of, I guess, trigger with you and say, hang on, there's too much, and you put boundaries in place? Like, what did you do?
What did I do?
When you were exhausted, when things were getting too much?
I think I was a crash and burn. So I would just go, and then crashed and have to sleep for a number of days or...
Well, we've got to remember we got your village, and don't forget we've got our Mums at the Table Facebook group, which is an amazing village. So if you're wanting some support, join that. But know your village, know your boundaries.
So what are we making?
Fresh muesli.
Fresh muesli? We're making fresh muesli. So this is a recipe from a lovely family that lives locally here. They have changed their whole family's health by just changing certain things in their diet. Their breakfast is one of them, and this is their recipe. And I just love this recipe because it's quick, it's easy. You make it at night and you've got breakfast for you and your family. It's pretty good. So I'll show you how to make it. It's very simple. We've got oats, rolled oats. And we're going to put the oats in there. And can I have the dry ingredients first? So how about you give me your coconut? So desiccated coconut, do you want to put it in there? Okay, all of it, all with the oats, very good. Can you put your sultanas in there? Put them all in there. Oh, you're leaving some for yourself. Can you put them all in there? Okay, so we got the dry ingredients in there. So what we'll do is mix that around, and then we'll put the wet ingredients in there. So one of them calls for a can, like 1 can of crushed pineapple. Make sure you look at the ingredients because not all crushed pineapple is the same. This one is 98% pineapple. There's no concentrate or sugar added to it. So we can't be banging there. Okay, so we put pineapple, crushed pineapple. This is going to give it an awesome sweet flavour. And we've got some apple juice. Now, this apple juice is, as you can see, it's very cloudy because in the fridge section at the supermarket, you can find freshly squeezed apple juice. It's really good. It's 100% apple, no concentrated added either, no concentrate added. Sorry.
Well, it definitely doesn't look like apple juice to me.
It doesn't, does it? Because it's so cloudy. There was actually bits in it. No, it's not. And we're actually going to use some almond milk as well. And I am going to grate an apple. Okay. So let's grate. Well, good thing the table's clean, eh? Okay, so get the apple in there. I love making messes when you're cooking. Okay, so this is what it's like in real life, right? Mix it all through, mix the apple. Good mixing, you did such a good job, Moses. All done, thank you. We're gonna put a lid on it. We've got one already made and I'm gonna put this in the fridge and this will last in the fridge for 3 to 4 days. So this is the one I made last night. That looks awesome. So that's the consistency. It's like fresh muesli. And we're going to serve it up. And this is how we would serve it up with some fresh fruit on top, maybe some strawberries. I've also, yes. Olives? No, not olives. I've got some fresh strawberries and toasted almonds to throw on top there. Your kids might not want. Hey? Yeah, do you want to put some on there?
Yeah.
There you go.
I want to fry some almonds.
There, awesome.
Nothing.
Some toasted almonds, and there you have it. Breakfast is served, and that was so quick. There you go. You can put some on top too. Okay, all done. That's enough. Plenty.
Well, that is it from us. We've had a good time.
A great time.
Don't forget, we've got our Mums at the Table magazine that you can subscribe to. So if you'd like to get a hold of that, jump onto our social media. And always, if you want to ask our experts a question, if you have a question that you want answered, send it in to us on our social media and we can have it answered for you. That's it. We'll see you next time here on Mums at the Table. Bye.